everyone, and welcome back to Literally Heinous. I'm really excited for today's episode because it's something that I've theorized on a lot, and it's how parents are affecting the careers of their children who are digital stars. So today I'm going to look at Addison Rae and Charlie D'Amelio, and they both became famous on TikTok in 2019, and now they're like full on celebrities. I don't want to say the term A-list, but they have surpassed the point of celebrity. They've surpassed like the influencer realm to the point of actual celebrities, and that I'm sure like even parents know who they are now. And to me, that's an indication of like a celebrity is if someone who has literally no idea what pop culture is, they definitely know who Addison and Charlie are. So looking at how their parents have affected their careers, and they're two polar opposites, the way that D'Amelios raised their kids and the way Addison's parents have dealt with her. So let's jump in. So I would classify Addison and Charlie D'Amelio as the two faces of TikTok. These are the girls that were the first stars of TikTok back when TikTok was just for kids and it was just for high school and middle school. Like, I could not be bothered by TikTok when it first came out. I was late in college. I just could not be bothered by it. Who cares? And I keep like hearing these names floating around, Addison and Charlie, Addison and Charlie. And COVID hits. Everyone downloads TikTok because like what else are we doing? And their fame just skyrockets. It's so crazy how these girls, they literally downloaded an app where they danced and lip synced to songs, and then within like 6 months they were famous. They had millions and millions of fans. They were hosting meet and greets, but they couldn't even meet any of their fans because there were swarms of people. People were calling their schools. It just got so crazy. There is no guidebook to handling children in the digital age. There's no guide. I mean, it's hard. Like, I can imagine when your kids are on social media and whether they're being bullied or comparing themselves to other people on social media, it's toxic. It really is. And it just adds a whole other level when your kid quite literally becomes famous on the internet and you don't, like most parents, they don't even know how to navigate stardom, know how to navigate fame. A lot of parents don't know how to navigate a massive influx of money, let alone when their children become stars on the internet, which invites trolls and haters and just massive money opportunities. I want to go ahead and get into it because I have a lot to say about this. I first want to talk about Addison Rae. So right now, Addison is 22. She was born in 2000, and she got big on TikTok in the summer of 2019, just before she started her freshman year at LSU. Addison grew up really poor in Louisiana. Her parents had a really tumultuous relationship. Her mom is Sherry, but she goes by Sherry Nicole on social media, and her dad is Monty Lopez. Her parents weren't married when she was born, but then they got married later and then broke up and got back together, and she has two younger brothers. They moved around a lot during her childhood. Her parents were kind of in the gig economy. Sherry worked at various makeup counters. At one point, Monty was working for a trailer park business, and he borrowed one of the campers for him and Sherry and their three kids to live in because they didn't have anywhere else to live in. But despite all this, Addison was a competitive dancer. She traveled a lot for dancing, and that was something that she really loved. So she joined TikTok right before she went to college. She went to LSU in Baton Rouge, and it's funny because her whole family actually moved with her so they could all live together because they couldn't afford room and board. So she starts making TikToks and doing the dancing videos, the lip syncing videos. She gets really big using Sherry Nicole. People really liked her relationship with her mom. Sherry Nicole is beautiful, so they obviously liked looking at a pretty girl and her pretty mom, and she gets really big on TikTok, and she reaches 1 million followers by October after she'd been on the app since June. I will say, just as a note, TikTok is really funny in the way that you gain followers. I find that it's pretty easy to gain followers when you have a viral video. So Zoe, my best friend, and I, we made a video on her account that went viral.
We ended up getting like 2 million views on it, but on that one viral video on her page, she gained like 1,500 followers just from that video alone. So if you're consistently posting good content and getting good engagement, you will gain a lot of followers really quickly. And I will say, especially in that 2019 era where TikTok wasn't mainstream, if you were putting out good content left and right, you were getting followers. So it makes sense that she was kind of at the right place at the right time.
So, anyways, she moves her family to LA in December of 2019. So, that is like 6 months after she signs up for TikTok account, that she has enough confidence and herself and her family has enough confidence to drop everything and move to LA and pursue this app that no one had really even heard of.
So, to catch you up on the last, let's say year and a half from 2020 when she's in LA to this summer, 2022. Addison is a commercial motherfucker. She is brand deal, beauty deal, line at American Eagle, spot in a Netflix movie, a single, her own makeup company. She is all over the place, like money-making mogul. I mean, marketing to kids is just a whole other beast. Like, I'm no marketing advertisement person. Like, I don't really understand, but what I can tell you from what I've observed is when kids are like really into someone, like it is so easy to just market things for them. I mean, I think about me with like all my High School Musical merch. Like I was rocking Troy and Gabriella merch to like die. So Addison, she's all over the place. She's like the biggest star in the world right now. She's on every talk show host. She's doing everything under the sun. She becomes friends with Kourtney Kardashian, summer 2020. This is one of my favorite moments in pop culture, I have to say. So Kourtney's son, Mason, who's like, I don't know, 12, 13, he is, of course, obsessed with Addison. And Kourtney, like, has Addison over to, like, surprise Mason. And Kourtney, at her big age of 42 at the time, and Addison spark up a little friendship. And they're seen together getting smoothies and working out. They're taking pictures together. Addison is on an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And this is when I like started to feel for her because this girl, she was like 19 at the time. Like, can you just imagine like a year ago, you're literally in your college freshman dorm making TikToks. You're living with, maybe not even in a college dorm. She was living with her family. A year later, she's sitting down with every single member of the Kardashian family filming for Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And Kendall Jenner, one of my least favorite people on this earth, and Scott Disick are very clearly texting about her at the table, telling each other to look at your phone, like laughing and like putting it down. And Addison is just sitting there like bright-eyed, smiling. She can't believe this is happening. Kim is insinuating that Kourtney and her are in a romantic relationship. It just like, everyone is like railing on Addison. That kind of fizzles out because Kourtney starts dating Travis. Addison gets that spot in the Netflix movie, the remake of He's All That, or was it the remake of She's All That? Whatever the original one was, it was the opposite sex. So she gets a spot in that movie. People are all up in arms because she's taking a spot from like real actors who have worked hard. Okay, that's a low budget, dumb Netflix. Like, it's not like she took a spot in like a Scorsese film. Like, I think it's gonna be fine. If you're not getting it, I will defend this girl literally until the day that I die. I love her and I just like feel for her so much. Like, she literally grew up with nothing. She's so kind. She brought her whack-ass family with her to friggin' LA. And she's just doing her thing. Okay, so this is where it gets bad. Flash forward to like this summer. Her dad, okay, Monty Lopez. Let me paint you a picture. Picture the most disgusting, tan, short, balding, blinding teeth man you've ever seen in your life. If I have not seen a more heinous person on God's green earth, like, I don't even know what to do. I feel like if I were to like rub my finger on his like bicep, it would be like, he is disgusting. So there's some headlines that Monty is cheating on Sherry Nicole. And Sherry at this point is everybody's sweetheart. She's like the internet's mom. Everyone stands Sherry Nicole. So people are like freaking out that like, oh, Monty's cheating on Sherry. This influencer, if you can even call her that, Ava Louise, she's one of those like LA kind of viral type influencer girls. Like she goes viral every year for like doing something ridiculous, but she's just like in the LA game making that coin. She's an OnlyFans girl. She like manages OnlyFans. If you don't know what OnlyFans is, like go look it up. I'm not explaining that to you. So she starts coming out saying like Monty and I are dating. We've been in a relationship. She's 25. He's 50, whatever. Absolutely heinous. Addison and Sherry unfollow Monty Lopez on Instagram. And Sherry changes her bio to single mother. Ooh. So now Monty is acting like an absolute freak. He's all over TikTok, just like partying all the time, like going to all these influencer parties, hanging out with younger girls. He's just acting like an absolute menace. Like he's commenting on other people's comments. So like he'll post a TikTok about, you know, whatever, and people will comment like, what's going on with Addison? What's going on with Sherry? And he'll like respond to them, which is just something you should just not do as a public figure. Do not engage with trolls. Do not engage with fans. I don't know. So he's like paying paparazzi to like follow him out of clubs and interview him because, okay, enter Young Gravy. Young Gravy is a 6'7" white male rapper who got pretty big this summer.
He has a few viral songs on TikTok, some that are really popular on the radio. He's really capitalizing on that tall, skinny white boy look that's in.
His whole thing is that he loves MILFs. And it's kind of an inside joke, I guess, that he has with his fans, that he like loves MILFs, and it's kind of part of his bit, you know, which I respect. Have like a little rapport with your fans. So he starts saying that he's in love with Sherry Nicole. Sherry Nicole is the ideal woman, is the ideal MILF. Monty starts blowing him up and challenges him to a fight. Okay, he makes the most absolutely vile video I've ever seen in my life. He's like flexing and he's like, "Urgh," and it's so gross. And the caption is like, Young Gravy's too scared to fight me. So he's trying to fight someone that could literally be his son. And it's just absolutely ridiculous. In addition to his TikTok antics, starting a fight and hanging out with influencers, he is working with Ava Louise, another influencer, to start an OnlyFans account. Okay. He doesn't follow through with it, thank God, because apparently like Sherry freaked out and they pulled the whole thing. But the thought of him, like the fact that he would entertain the idea of starting an OnlyFans account is deplorable. If my father, I can't even get these words out of my mouth. If my father started an OnlyFans account, I don't even know. I would cease to exist. I would evaporate. There is nothing that could possibly be more humiliating to someone than their father starting an OnlyFans account. And Addison Rae is working so hard to make a name for herself. Like, as hard as celebrities try to, you know, be famous and be successful, I feel like influencers, this is a hot take, have to try twice as hard to make themselves like seen as valuable and seen as contributing members of entertainment. Like, she's working so hard to be successful and to be respected and to make a name for herself in an entertainment society that does not really care about TikTokers. And her dad is out here acting like a goddamn buffoon. It's ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to put a pin in Monty Lopez for a second because I can't even, like, I've had to consume so much of his content recently and, like, I need to get it out of my head. So Sherry, this whole time she's been, you know, like still the internet's mom. We love Sherry. Young Gravy is out here making TikToks about her. Monty Lopez is acting like a fool. And then Sherry decides to get in on the joke and she starts making jokes with Young Gravy too, like responding to his TikToks and commenting. And this just like this should have never happened, okay? Sherry needed to take the high road and she didn't. So she and Young Gravy go to the VMAs together. She goes as his date to the VMAs. The VMAs are always like drama city, of course. There's always so much good content after the VMAs, but I will say the number one headline after the VMAs this year was Young Gravy and Sherry Nicole making out on the red carpet. It was so cringe. It was so embarrassing. I'll show you, or I'll let you listen to a little bit of a clip from one of his Entertainment Tonight interviews on the red carpet.
What is the obsession with MILFs?
They're more experienced. They are an underserviced community, I'd like to say, and they deserve more attention. So I thought that I'd be the one, and I've noticed that people really have started giving MILFs more attention since my music dropped.
And honey, I think, well, you seem to be giving some of them more attention as well. I saw
My date's not here right now. She's around the corner, but yes.
Wait,
absolutely.
I do believe, was that Sherry?
Sherry Nicole.
Is she your date tonight?
My date tonight, yes.
Well, I'm not sure why that interview sounds like it's from the Corny Collins show. Like, I don't know why they're both so Southern, because he's not from the South, and I don't know where the interviewer was from, but I do know that her accent progressively got more Southern. Anyways, so you can just get a feel for who this guy is. Like, he's a clout chaser. He's an internet rapper. He's trying to, I don't really know that much about this guy, but I know that he's very much into social media, a little bit in the way that Lil Nas is, Lil Nas X. I think that Lil Nas X did a fabulous job of taking what would be a one-hit wonder, which is Old Town Road, and he's a Grammy winner now, and he's not a one-hit wonder, and he is so, so fabulous with using the internet and using memes and being funny. I adore him. I would love to do an episode on him one time. But Young Gravy is just, I don't know if he's trying to do that. He's very obviously using Sherry. Sherry is very obviously using him. She could be his mother, and I'm not against, I'm not against revenge. Listen, I'm no saint. I just don't think it's the time or the place to do that so publicly. Addison brought her parents up. Like, her parents would be nothing without her. She brings them out to LA. She made them famous. Her parents were so quick to make their own TikTok channels and their own podcasts and do their own content, become their own celebrities, that they forget, like, the reason why they're there. And it's incredibly uncomfortable, and it's uncomfortable to watch. And in some sick, twisted way, I will tread lightly here, but I don't think this is that bad for Addison's career. So let me explain. I think that it's deplorable what they're doing, and they're acting like fools, and it is reflecting poorly on Addison on a surface level. But the amount of, so much of the rhetoric around Addison Rae prior to this was like, all she did is dance in front of a camera and look hot, talentless. She's had everything handed to her. She went viral on TikTok, and now she's in Netflix movies. Like, she doesn't deserve her fame. That was so much of the rhetoric. And now it's shifted because this has been such national news. It's shifted to being, I never really cared much for Addison, but I feel so bad for her because her parents are doing this. It's obvious how hard she's worked because of this. This is a scandal, and this isn't great, but I don't think that this is really going to hurt her career. If anything, I think it's making people stop and think, like, wow, this girl has worked really hard, and maybe she did get lucky on TikTok, and she was at the right place at the right time, but it takes a special person to create engaging content and retention. So like I mentioned earlier on TikTok, like, it's not that hard to gain followers. There's so many girls on TikTok that have millions of followers that, like, you've never heard of. But like, retaining your fans and building a fan base and making good content and engaging people and working hard to maintain your fame and to leverage it is a really hard thing to do. And she is just doing like one thing after the other. I mean, for 2020 and like half of 2021, it was just like everywhere I turned, it was a new collaboration, a new Snapchat show, a new podcast, a new whatever. And I think she's calmed down a lot in the last year. I know she has a boyfriend. She's been like traveling, she's been a little bit quiet. And I think that's really good for her. I think that she's established herself as celebrity, not just a TikTok star. She is on the celebrity status. Her parents are acting like goddamn buffoons. But it's a cliche. No publicity is bad publicity. I will stand Addison Rae no matter what. I love that girl, and I hope that her parents calm down or at least just stop dragging her into it. All right, now we are entering our second case study, which is the D'Amelios. So Charli D'Amelio and Addison, as I mentioned earlier, are the two TikTok it girls. They really brought TikTok to the mainstream and are the two, like, basically the faces of TikTok. So similar to Addison, Charli got big on TikTok in 2019 as well. Charli's a little bit younger, so she was about 16 when she started getting big, which is super young, and she also brought her family along. So her family members, so her sister Dixie got famous with her. Dixie's older. She was about 18 when they started getting famous. Dixie notoriously was very anti-TikTok. Dixie, we're like similar ages, kind of. I'm a little bit older than her, but she would be like, "What are you doing, Charli? That's so embarrassing. You're dancing on an app. That app is for children. What are you doing?" Charli starts getting big. Dixie gets in on the fun. She gets really big too. And then their parents join in. So their parents' names are Mark and Heidi. So the D'Amelios are from Connecticut. They're from a suburb, and they definitely like had money for sure. Both Dixie and Charli went to private school in Connecticut. It's a little unclear exactly what their parents' jobs were. So Mark ran for state senate in Connecticut in 2018 and lost. And before that, he'd founded like various clothing companies, and he was in like on the PTA. Like, I didn't dig through his records or anything, so if he like did something actually big, I don't know. Regardless, they were pretty well off. Heidi D'Amelio, so Mark and Heidi met in New York City. Heidi is also from Louisiana, like Addison Rae's family, but she left Louisiana to move to New York to pursue a modeling career. And she met Mark at a gym that their mutual friend owned. The D'Amelios at their core definitely have a very entrepreneurial spirit. They're very opportunistic from what I've gathered. They're very tight. They're a very, very tight-knit family. Charli and Dixie are just two peas in a pod. They do everything together. Even though they are millionaires multiple times over, they share an apartment. They just moved out of their new family home in LA and got an apartment together. They're very obviously close. And from what it appears, Mark and Heidi seem to have a very good and solid relationship. I think the D'Amelios really capitalize on family content. And I think that a lot of people find it very comforting because their family just feels very cohesive and very tight-knit. What I do really like a lot is that within their family content, it feels like you're there. So Charli and Dixie had a podcast for a little bit, and they have an episode where they have their parents on, and I got some really good intel just into like how they run their family. This is a segment on Charli and Dixie's podcast where they're interviewing their parents, and Mark is they're talking about the times that they've had to ask Charli to delete videos that she's posted.
Do you think I don't think it's a lot, but how many times do you think we have told you?
Like a solid 10. You've told me to take videos down.
More than that. At the beginning?
Yeah, because they didn't like it when I lip-synced cuss words, or when a dance was too risque, or...
I still yell at you when you do
no,
certain
I just
things.
Don't listen. I'm just kidding. No, I still take them down because I'm nervous. She's gonna like take my phone and delete my
now
account.
it gets screen recorded and is sent everywhere.
Yeah, because
anyway.
if I delete it, then it's gonna be like Charli Rare video, and I'm like, I deleted that for a reason.
I can't explain why, but I love that clip, and I loved hearing their family dynamics because it just felt really real to me, the way that Charli and Dixie kind of gang up on their parents a little bit. The way they just have inside jokes. felt like I was just sitting at their dinner table and listening to a family interact, and it was really entertaining for me. And the part where Charlie's saying like, oh, well, if I delete a video, then I'll draw more attention to it because then it's a Charlie rare. I mean, I remember when I first downloaded Facebook and I would post something like dumb or crazy when I was like in middle school, definitely too young to be having it, but that's what we all did. And my parents would text me, you need to delete this, and I would. And I can't imagine, like, Charlie doesn't really have that freedom. Like, we all say whatever you post on the internet is forever, and it is in some regard. But for us private people, like, if you post something kind of dumb, a few hours later, you can be like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have posted that. I'll just delete it. It's pretty much gone. For these teenagers who are going to be dumb online, like, the second they hit post, like, it's there forever. It's screen recorded. It's in an archive. It's somewhere. Someone will have it somewhere. If you delete it, you draw more attention to it. There's no margin of error. Like, there's no room to mess up. So one of the biggest D'Amelio scandals was at the end of 2020, I think it was in December, I refer to it as Escargate. So there was a YouTube video that they were making where their like family friend / chef was cooking a paella for them that had escargot in it. And James Charles was there. James Charles is, God, I can't even get into him right now, but he's like notorious YouTube makeup artist, but he's been in he was a scandal. He's a walking scandal. He's a walking PR nightmare. And he's over there, and it's Charlie and Dixie and their parents and their chef making them this paella, and James. So the chef hands it to them, and Charlie and Dixie just have these absolute looks of disgust on their face. They're like, what is this? Like, I'm not eating snail. And James is all like, guys, like, it's actually really good. You guys need to be respectful. And laughing at them. And then Dixie like smells it and she goes outside to throw up. And it's just this whole thing. So that becomes literally like the biggest scandal in the world. Like, everybody's talking about it. Everybody is like, oh my gosh, these girls are so ungrateful. They have a private chef in their LA mansion after getting famous for dancing in front of their phones. And they're being such ungrateful, rude brats. Like, the amount of hate that they got for that video was, like, astronomical. The kinds of people that just hate on influencers and TikTokers, and they're just super pretentious about, like, entertainment and fame, like, love these opportunities to absolutely just rail on these digital celebrities and how they don't deserve their fame. So this was, like, a huge deal. Charlie and Dixie, like Charlie lost like 1 million subscribers or like 1 million followers in like one day. It was something ridiculous like that. And they do like a crying apology video. It was just absurd. And my whole thing of it was like, okay, so there was one, everybody was just talking about it and like, oh, how ungrateful, whatever. And then there's this small corner of the internet that was like, wow, teenage girls being bratty. Like, who would have thought? The video's not great. I will say, like, it did make them look bad, but if you know the context, like, this is, like, their family friend. They're really close with this guy. The whole bit of the video was to, like, make a really elaborate food. Like, they're just, like, they're not Anthony Bourdain. Like, relax. Like, it was so, the amount of hate that they got, and it was just ridiculous. I think in general, Charlie and Dixie can get kind of blasted for being, like, airheady and a little bit just like out of it. So this is one of my favorite clips. It went viral last year. The prompt there, I can't remember who they're collabing with or what the situation is, but the prompt was like, what's your theme song or what's the soundtrack to your life? And Charlie and Dixie look like freaks in this video. Their hair looks ridiculous. Their eyes are shut and they look so high. I'm going to play it for you.
Hot Girl by Megan Thee Stallion.
I'm Awesome by Spose.
That's a good one. I know.
Regardless of if they're like bratty or a little bit airheady, or maybe they smoke a lot of weed. Like, they're still teenagers, and like they weren't banking on getting famous, and I think that they're still entitled to like a margin of error, and they just are upheld to a ridiculous standard. It's almost like everyone is thinking like, oh, well, we all brought this person up on the internet, like they need to entertain us, like we own them. It's like this ownership that people feel over these digital celebrities. So going back to Mark and Heidi, I think that they have capitalized on their children's fame in a way that's very smart and very tactical. So while the Easterlings, Addison Ray's family, had no idea what the fuck they were doing, and all of a sudden they just have an obscene amount of money and an obscene amount of stardom, the D'Amelios, they know what money is. Like, they had money themselves. They know what to do with it. And financial knowledge, like, it's a skill. It's not something like, oh, you just get rich. And like, I mean, think about all those NFL players that they get their first paycheck and they get paid and it's like millions of dollars and they're so rich, and then they get injured after their first season and then they're bankrupt in 3 years because they don't really know how to manage their money. You have to know how to manage your money, and the D'Amelios did that in a very strategic way. In 2022, they announced their company called D'Amelio Brands, which is their holding firm for all of their professional ventures. The press release says the company's goal is to create authentic and accessible products across a variety of industries, allowing each member of the family to fully immerse themselves in all areas of product development. Mark is heading it up. He and Heidi, they do their podcast, and I think that they're handling their fame in a very strategic way. I think that, at least from my perspective, Mark and Heidi are very well respected. They have really great banter, and I think that people can really appreciate them, and in a way that they complement their daughter's fame, they add to it. They don't force them to do anything, and they're professional, and I think that people can really respect professionals. Going back to that first podcast episode with Charlie and Dixie, Charlie kind of alludes a little bit to their entrepreneurial spirit. I'll play you a little clip right now.
What do you think of the fact that Mommy moved to New York to pursue her modeling career and left Louisiana and took a shot and came up to New York?
I mean, I think personally, we all kind of have that, like, mindset. Like, we're going to do whatever we can to achieve what we want. We did it to go to California. We did it whenever I started training in New York City and Mom let me go. Like, that's something that's, I would say, really cool about us as a family, is, like, we're always going to do whatever we can. Even Dixie, BMX racing, we knew it was far. That's something that not a lot of people
schools.
did. Switching schools.
Field
like,
hockey.
we were always very determined, and we're going to do whatever we can do to the best of our ability, and I think that that's something really cool about us.
I am definitely very impressed with the D'Amelio family and how well they are at managing their success and managing their money. And they definitely have the privilege of having money before this. Like, they know how money works. They know how to be strategic. They know not to blow it. And they know how to capitalize on their daughter's fame without pushing them to do anything. I mean, they're not like telling them that they have to do all this. They are supporting them, and they're doing a really good job about maintaining their fame and being smart with their money. So I definitely respect the D'Amelios. I'm not, going to go to war for Charlie and Dixie like I would for Addison, but I can appreciate how hard they've worked and how much pressure that they might be under. And while I understand that they're grateful, I mean, I would hate if I was like 17 years old and the whole world was watching what I was doing, and everything that they do is on the record, recorded, saved forever. They are like spokespeople, like they can't mess up. And it's a lot to handle. And I hope for the best for them, and I'm very excited to see what they do in the next few years. So in summary, I think that money has so much to do with all of this and their financial background. I think that the D'Amelios are like quintessential case of like they're a cohesive family. They had a very strong family bond. The siblings are close. The parents clearly love each other. They had all this relationship, financial stability. They were prepared for this, and they did it in a very smart way. The Easterling family, they've always had chaotic family life, and they didn't grow up with money. They didn't know how to handle this, and they don't know how to handle the fame. They're not a cohesive unit. So, like, conversely, I think that's why Charlie and Dixie have these flippant attitudes and can maybe come off a little bit bratty and airheady, whereas I feel like Addison comes off very smart and very poised. She works incredibly hard. She's always hustling. She might have this mentality that she's not going to keep making money, so that's maybe why she's trying so hard. For the most part, she pretty much stays out of scandals. I can only really think of one, and it's where she had like a cross on a bikini and people thought it was like blasphemous to the Christian religion. I didn't really care about that, but that's kind of it for her. So that wraps up this episode. As a recent update, I will say that Addison and her mom are back on good terms. They have refollowed each other on Instagram, or I guess Addison refollowed her. So I love to see that. I really hope that Sherry can maybe just focus on being a mom and being a support system for Addison. Monty can literally go drown. I don't care. But yeah, that's the episode for today. Please, please, please let me know if you have any recommendations. I'm seriously having so much fun doing this, and I would love to continue doing more of this. So let me know if you have any ideas for episodes. Thank you.